So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make this silly little Santa hat, which is based on a granny stitch, or actually based on a granny square. So this design is inspired by a student that I recently taught in one of my beginners classes, and we were making traditional granny squares and she almost made a little hat like this. So as usual, my students are a great source of inspiration. So I've used double knit yarn. I've just used cotton, just paint box DK cotton, and a 3.5mm hook. You could also use Aran or worsted weight yarn with a 4mm hook. You'll just get a slightly bigger hat. So we're just going to start with a normal slip knot loop on our hook. Then we're going to chain 4 and join to form a ring in the first chain with a slip stitch. So you should have a little ring like that. So this first bit is just like making a normal granny square. So we're going to do a chain 4. And then we're going to put 3 double crochets, which is a UK treble, into the ring. Next up, chain 2 and another 3 doubles into the ring. Chain 2, 3 doubles into the ring. Chain 2, 2 double into the ring. Now we're only doing 2 double this time because we're going to steal a bit of that chain 4 we did. So into the third chain you're going to slip stitch. So remember to treat the chain like a normal stitch. We're not just poking the hook straight through the middle. We want a continuation, front loop, back loop, front loop, back loop, even when you hit that chain, and join with a slip stitch. So you should end up with what at this point literally just looks like the start of a granny square. You've got 4 sides, each with 3 stitches, and 4 corners, each with a chain 2 in the corner. Let's do round 2. So this is where we start to deliberately make the granny square a little bit wrong. So we're going to slip stitch into the same corner where we just ended, into the chain space there, and then we're going to do another chain 4, and then we're going to put 3 doubles into that exact same spot. So you should have a chain 4 and 3 double crochet coming out of that first corner space. Into the next corner space you're only going to put 3 double crochets. And then into the next chain 2 corner space you're going to put 3 double crochets, a chain 2 and 3 double crochets. So you can see it's already starting to not sit flat like a granny square would, because we've actually not put in enough stitches. Into the next chain 2 corner you're going to put another 3 double. Oops. And then into that first corner where you started, you're just going to finish off this original corner by putting another 2 doubles in there, and then slip stitch into the third chain of your chain 4. So you should have something that's starting to already look like a little hat. You can pull it into shape a little bit as well if you like. So that's round 2. What you should have is 3 double and a chain 2 and 3 double in one of the corners, 3 double in the next corner, in the next corner 3 double, chain 2, 3 double, and in the next corner space you only got 3 double. So sort of alternating what would be a normal corner for a granny square. Let's do round 3. So we're going to slip stitch into the corner space we're already in, and then we're going to do a chain 4. Next up we're going to go into the next corner and do 3 doubles, which is 3 UK trebles. Then we're going to chain 1. Then we're going to go between the next set of clusters and put 3 doubles, or 3 UK trebles if you're using British terminology. Then you're going to chain 1, and into the next chain 2 corner you're going to put 3 doubles. Then you're going to chain 1. Between the next 2 set of clusters you're going to put another 3 doubles. Then you're going to chain 1, and then between the next set of 3 double crochets clusters you're going to put another set of 3, and you're going to chain 1, and then back into this first one you're just going to put 2 doubles back in that first corner, and you're going to join with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain of your beginning chain 4. So you can see now, you can persuade it as well, it's looking even more like a little hat. Let's do the next round. It's actually the same as the round we've just done really. Slip stitch into the space that you're already in, chain 4, and then 3 double between the 3 double clusters from the previous row. Chain 1, 3 double between the next set of clusters. So this round, as I said, it's basically exactly the same as what you've just done. Chain 1, 3 double. I'm going quite fast here just because it's pretty straightforward. You can always just pause the video while you do this quite simple round. Chain 1 and 3 double. And chain 1 and 3 double. And then back into this first space where you started you're going to put 2 double and join with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain of your beginning chain 4. So here you can see your little hat should be looking like this. So we are actually now going to fasten off with the red. So we cut the yarn, we yarn over and we pull the tail end through the live loop to make a tiny knot. So what we want to do really is actually really close up the top of the hat to make it a little bit more pointy. So I'm going to turn it inside out, and then you need to get a tapestry needle. You could actually use a magic ring for this. It's not, you know, as you know, I generally only advise using magic rings for toy making, and this is not really a serious item, so you know, not that bothered if it comes undone really. Well, it's not less likely to come undone because it's not, the fabric doesn't have the same pressures applied to it as clothing or blankets. So I go round, I'm basically going around the legs of those stitches, so that like a drawstring, so that I can pull that really tight and then catch a little bit of thread to go back on myself just to fasten that off. So you can use an enormous pair of scissors or something more suitable, and then you can bit more pointy just by pulling it, and that's obviously the beauty of using cotton as opposed to acrylic, because cotton has stitch memory and acrylic is probably not really going to hold its shape. So that's the first step of the hat. So next up, we're going to make the trim along the bottom of the hat, which will, you know, a couple of puff stitches to make it look a bit like fur. So you're going to use white here, and you can kind of join anywhere really. It's going to join in the middle of a cluster, and I'm going to be doing back loop only. I'm just going to do one row of single crochet into the back loop only. So if you're a British crocheter, that's a double crochet. So I'm holding the tail and onto the back of the work just like that. I'm finding a middle cluster stitch and I'm picking up the back loop only, pulling up a loop, making a chain one and putting one single straight back into that back loop. So don't worry if it looks a bit stretchy. As we move around, it sort of sorts itself out. So single crochet back loop only into every stitch, including the chain stitches. So single crochet back loop only, one in each. So you can see that although initially it looked like it was really pulling, once the stitches are, once you've got more stitches, they tend to take the load between them. Let's keep going. When you hit this slip stitch, you're going to go back loop of the slip stitch. Hopefully you haven't got a horrible knot like me. Ignore the bit where you fastened off. Ignore the chain, third chain where you put the slip stitch in, and go into the next chain one there. This is just so you don't inadvertently make an extra stitch there, and even though it seems like you're jumping over a lot, as you can see, it sort of sorts itself out. Back loop there, back to the beginning, and you're going to slip stitch back into the very first single. Like that. So you've got a little bit of a border on your hat there. So let's do the final round, which is like a faux fur, a faux fur trim. It's not really, it's horizontal puff stitches. So you're going to chain two, you're going to yarn over, you're going to go back into that same stitch where you joined with the slip stitch, and you're going to pull up a loop. You're going to yarn over again, back into that stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over, back into the stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over, back into the stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over, back into the same stitch, whoa, and pull up a loop. So I've actually done that 5 times. Yarn over and draw off all those loops. Skip a stitch, and into the next stitch you're going to put a single crochet, but make it quite tight. Okay, so there's our first horizontal puff stitch. We're going to do the same again. Chain 2 into the exact same spot where you've just put that single crochet. You are going to yarn over, go in and pull up a loop, and you're going to do that 5 times in total. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5. It is quite a lot, and this is where it's important to make sure your hook is the perfect angle to go through there. Skip a stitch, into the next one you're going to put a single. So there we've got the second horizontal puff stitch. Let's do another one. Chain 2, yarn over into the same stitch as the single crochet was in and pull up a loop. I'm going to do that 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over, draw off all the loops. Skip a stitch, single crochet, into the next stitch. And as I said, if you try and keep those single crochets quite neat, because it helps to define the little, you know, fake fur trim there. So I'm going to go ahead and carry on all the way around, and I'll meet you back when I'm ready to fasten off. So I'm just coming up to the end. I'm going to make another horizontal puff stitch. Don't know if I did 4 or 5 there. No, it doesn't really matter. So at this point we've actually got one stitch too many, so we don't worry about that. We literally just, we're going to skip a stitch and single crochet. I mean, it's just a little nonsense item. We're not really that bothered about one stitch out, and then after you've done the single, you can do a slip stitch into the start of that puff stitch, sort of anywhere really, just to finish it off. And then you're going to cut the yarn over and pull that tail through to fasten off. So there you can see we've got our little hat, and we just need to sew in some ends to make it look neat. So this one here, I'm probably just going to stuff it in this puff stitch and catch a thread of the puff stitch and go back into the puff stitch. Again, I'm not being as fastidious with this as I would be with clothing or anything. And then this one, the end of this, where I'm also going to go into this puff stitch here. Tuck that in, catch a thread and go back that way. That'll be enough for that. And then this tail, I'm just going to actually get it, weave it in and out of this starting chain and down to the base of this cluster here. Make sure I'm not puckering the work. Catch a bit and go back into the base of that cluster. That one can be trimmed. So pull it into shape. There's your basic hat, and then you can make a little bobble or a tassel. So first of all, you need a little bit of cardboard folded in half, and it needs to be about 4 centimetres long, or slightly less. You need a piece of thread that is about 30 centimetres long, preferably in the colour that you're going to make your little tassel thing with for the hat. And you're going to put it between the card and pull it up towards the folded end, so that it's roughly in the middle like that. Then you're going to get the yarn that you're going to make the little tassel thing with, and you're going to start wrapping it round the card with the fold at the bottom. But first of all, one of these ends you're just going to bring it over to the left hand side and leave a bit of a loop sticking out like that. That's just so that you can pull it out again in a minute when we need to, because the problem is if you won't be able to gather together the tassels otherwise. Anyway, if you're not sure what I'm on about, just trust the process and it will work out. So here I'm getting the yarn for the tassel. I'm going to wrap it round, think I'm going to do it quite a few times, probably about 40. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 41, 42, 43, 44 just for luck. And trim that there. This bit that I've folded in, the loop that's sticking out, I'm going to pull out that loop. And then the bit that I've trapped in there, I'm going to slide it up so it's towards the open end of the 2 bits of cardboard, so that it allows me to actually tie this off. So you're going to do what I think is known as a reef knot, but I might be wrong. It's just, this is what I do. So you do left strand over right strand, behind and up and through, and pull it tight, and then pull it as tight as you can, and then the right one goes over the left strand, around the back and under, and then you pull those, and then I just do another one just for luck, like that. Then you can slip the scissors in and give all those little strands a trim right at the top end there, like that. And then you can give this a trim. So we've given ourselves quite a lot of ends there. Oops. I'm not doing a very good job of this. You'll probably do a much better job than me, plus you might actually have better scissors. And then obviously you can make this however big you want. I think I might trim off a bit more, make it a bit shorter, or you know, you can have a big pom-pom tassel thing if you like. It's a bit like cutting hair, isn't it? You keep trying to neaten it up and then you end up with nothing. Yes, so don't do that. Let me see. I think that's kind of quite cute. What do you think? Also, I don't really want to go to the whole hassle of, maybe a bit shorter, of making an entire pom-pom. So once you're happy with your little pom-pom tassels, obviously if you want it a lot fuller, you just do a lot more wraps, but you know, I'm just want to get the general effect rather than anything else. So I'm going to get both tail ends and I'm going to sew them, does make a bit of a mess, through the middle of the tip of the hat. Pull that through. So this is where it's quite important to have closed up that hole, because you don't want to end up pulling it all the way through there. Turn it inside out, and then this tail end, if you just sort of run it round in back strands, round the ring, so to speak, again, and you can actually split the pair there, because then if we go all the way back round to the beginning, we can actually tie them off against each other. So let's keep going. Not doing a very neat job here because, as I said, this is just a bit of fun. So pull that one, check, that's better. Another quick pull, and then I'm going to fasten off. Left over right, right over left, chop. I've got lots of bits of mini. I know that's the tail end, so you might want to trim them off a little bit more, just because, or even if you're going to be very perfectionist, you could sew those in as well. So there we go. There is our little mini Santa hat. I'm sure there's lots of uses for this. I was thinking maybe a little Christmas egg cozy. Problem is, I think it needs a beard or something as well, doesn't it? Anyway, it's kind of quite cute. I think you could also use it as a like a little tree decoration. Maybe just put a little bit of see-through thread through the top of the hat, or even coming up through the middle of the pom-pom. Or maybe if you've got a child that's got lots of dolls and things, it could also be quite sweet for that, couldn't it?